Dr. Introspect, and I am back. That's like my typical intro, and I know I just hopped off a live before and I told you I'd be back, and so I decided to actually make the analysis that I want to do um, on a live session. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the Netflix show Cheat Unfinished Business. I know. So I saw this show, I think on Thursday last week. And when I saw this show, I thought, like, wow. Okay, so what I'm bringing to you right now is a new to the channel episode. So typically, I do deep dives on movies. I have never done reality TV. Okay, so I should probably tell you, I watch a lot of reality TV, dating shows. Um, but, and I watch other reality TV as well. Um, it's a guilty pleasure. But the reason I don't do analysis on reality TV, I just feel some type of way about talking about real life people, you know? It just makes me uncomfortable in a way because reality TV is so static, right? Unless you are perhaps following it for like many years or something. But even then, there's also the speculation of the production. What the producers doing behind the scenes. How are they like orchestrating and steering this thing to create a certain kind of narrative? And so there's always a question of how are you so sure that what you're looking at is the truth, right? And so I don't watch it for entertainment. I also do analysis on my own, but I feel a way about broadcasting the analysis like this on a platform like this because again all those things I said earlier, and the characters are like so static in time that you don't know if 6 months from now the characters are going to go into therapy and grow and become better people. We don't know that, you know? And when you make this kind of very heavy statements about this snapshot in time, I it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, you know? But when you are talking about uh, movie characters or even something like a documentary, so when we're talking about a documentary, so I've done some deep dives on documentaries, um, or like true life adaptations, even if they are about like murderers that are in like supermax prisons, right? Um, there is still some level of fiction with the storytelling, and because of that, um, because of that level of fiction in storytelling, hmm, there's some hmm, uncomfortable messages that are coming on. I don't know if this is what happens when you come on live. Like people say like weird things. It's odd. Okay. So, like I was saying, So with true life, true crime, any of those type of dramas, there's some element of fiction. So we are not talking about the people themselves. So it's like a step removed, right? But with reality TV, it's different, right? So this is the first time I have or I am talking about any kind of reality TV type of analysis on this channel. So for anyone that is just coming into the live, I this is Dr. Introspect TV. Welcome, and we are talking about the Netflix show Cheat Unfinished Business. I don't know if you've seen it, so if you haven't seen it, there will be spoilers here. So keep that in mind, right? So the premise of the show is really trying to answer the question, can people recover after cheating? Okay? Can people recover after cheating? Without going so deep into the analysis just yet, you can reflect on some of the relationships you've had in the past where you were either cheated on or you did the cheating and you tried to win your partner back, right? How did that go? Did you find that your relationship or your marriage was able to survive the cheating? So that's the premise of the show. Now, I'll tell you what my answer to that is. So, based on what we know in the literature, it can happen, yes. It doesn't happen all the time, but you can recover. And if you're able to recover, the relationship can actually get stronger, right? But not everybody makes it because it's a lot of work. It takes a lot. I think it actually takes even more work to recover from a cheating relationship than it takes to actually just be in a relationship. Because a lot of the time you'll be spending in repair, in rebuild, and trying to regain trust. And a lot of people are not willing to put in that work, right? So in this show, we have some very attractive cast members, and the setting is in somewhere in the UK, right? So they're all UK people over there. And we have relationships that are as long as 10 years, 10 years long. And I know you're wondering, why will someone stay with someone who is cheating on them for as long as 10 years, right? I was also wondering as well, like if someone has shown you who they are, you should believe them the first time, okay? So that's the background. And I'm not going to touch on each individual relationship. There were about 5 or 6 couples in the show. So I'm just going to give you like a general overview of some takeaways and some principles perhaps that you can apply to yourself. So, straight up observation. If I'm looking down, I'm looking down at my notes, just so that I don't get carried away and we stay on topic, okay? So, the first thing you will notice is that time doesn't heal wounds. Time does not heal wounds. I say this a lot. I say this a lot. People often think that even with things like grief, death, losing someone you love, a family member, that, you know, if enough time passes by, that you will recover. And that's not always the case, right? People still needed closure. So there were people that, so in this show, the breakups between the partners are not like they've been broken up for like, I don't know, 6 months. Some of them have been apart for like a year, 2 years. So they dated other people in between. So it wasn't like fresh breakup, okay, I'm trying to win my partner back. That's not what was happening, right? And so for a lot of these people, they still needed closure. Hmm. I don't know if I'm trying to see if I can add like a title to this so that people know when they come in that this is what we're talking about. Um, okay, uh, I'll figure that out next time. But yeah, so they needed closure, right? Another thing you will observe when you're watching the show, and as you watch the show, if you're someone that has been through this experience, you can also self reflect on your own life and see if you can see yourself in these characters. Something that's very important for relationship repair is real apologies. Real apologies and genuine contriteness. Contriteness means, you know, you are genuine, like you are repentant, you are really sorry that you hurt this person, you know. It's not just the feeling of the action you did, but also the genuine remorse for the pain that your action has caused. This needs to happen in order for people to be able to repair from a cheating situation. Something else we noticed in the show is that the victim is not always perfect, right? So, in cases of cheating, where there's like a cheating partner, we often always see them as devils. They are bad, they are wrong, they are the only guilty party. And this is not to victim blame or anything. And this is not to say that the victim is the cause of the cheating. This is to say that oftentimes in these kind of chaotic relationships, the receiving person, the person that is the victim of the cheating, is often perpetuating some other kind of chaos as well. There's some other role they're playing in this, and that's what makes this chaotic relationship work. It takes two, right? And some of the things you might observe from listening to the participants is, you know, the other person probably has terrible communication, right? They don't communicate well in the relationship. And that can look like shutting down when they're having conversations or disagreements. That can look like stonewalling. That can look like having raging or anger issues. That can look like insensitivity. That can look like deflection. That can look like having insecurity or having controlling behaviors. And what that looks like, the controlling behavior dynamic, is, you know, for a partner, it could be trying to control your friendships or interactions or things of that nature, right? I should probably give this disclaimer before you go on to watch the show if you haven't seen it. The this show, for some reason, I don't know why, but the people that did the cheating were all men. Okay, I don't know why they did it that way. Obviously, we know in reality that women can be cheats as well. It's not just like a male thing. So I just want to make that clear that it's absolutely possible, and any of these behaviors I'm describing can happen on the other side as well, right? Something I did also observe was that by the end of this show, many couples did not get back together. Many of them did not get back together at all. And I think the show was like a 2 week retreat. And it made sense, okay? The idea that in 2 weeks, people would somehow recover from the detrimental effects of cheating on the relationships is just, I'm sure they knew as well, but again, entertainment. Um, the hosts of the show, they were quite knowledgeable and helpful, especially Paul. I've seen some of his videos on YouTube. I know he will never see this, but I think he does really good work with his podcasts and interviews. And so, yeah, I'm gonna pause for a second and see if I can try to edit this again. Um, oh, okay. Trying to see if I can edit the title of this live. It doesn't seem like I can do that. I keep pausing and trying to see if I can do that. It doesn't seem like I can do that. Okay. So, yeah. So those are the main observations on the whole of all the characters that I saw. So, I said a 2 week retreat is not enough to repair a relationship. Just not enough. I mean, you think about the couple that have a 10-year history together. Do you think 2 weeks is gonna fix that? Hell no, no way. So, why is that the case? Well, for one, attachment issues. Attachment issues cannot be fixed in 2 weeks, right? You're going to need to do a lot of therapy to fix attachment issues. And by attachment issues, you can refer to my maybe 5-year-old video on attachment styles on this channel. And when you are watching the show, I can see people with a lot of avoidance are on the show. A lot of them are avoidance. And these kind of attachment issues that show up as either avoidance or anxious attachment or preoccupied attachment is not something that gets resolved in 2 weeks. I think at most this retreat can like make you aware of some of your patterns and tell you that, hey, you guys are not good at communication. You guys are not good at like active listening. You guys are not good at mirroring back your partner's emotion and things like that. You guys are not good at being very supportive, but they might give you some pointers on things you can do, but the work is in the day to day. The work is in the day to day of doing that process every day. Dying to yourself, killing your ego over and over, and trying to be better every day. You're not going to do that in 2 weeks, right? People that are working on their attachment styles and their insecure attachment, they do this work for years, 2 years, 3 years. So, yeah, I knew off the gate a lot of couples would not make it, right? Another thing is I observed, and I always think about this whenever I think about people that are fantasizing, reminiscing, having limerence about an old relationship. I don't know why people do that. Like people that fantasize about this one that got away. It doesn't make sense. And if you feel differently, you can tell me in the comments, but I don't feel it makes sense, and I'll tell you why. The fantasy of this person, it's based on the premise that those people are still who you think they were. Do you understand? When you leave an ex, whether it's because of cheating or whatever, and then you hope to come back, you are basing it off the assumption that that person is who you left behind. You've taken this snapshot of time that was your 6 month, 1 year, however long relationship, and you've decided that that person is going to remain that same way. And I feel like people who think that way, it's often a projection of themselves because they themselves haven't changed. They haven't evolved. They haven't done any work. They haven't gone to therapy. So they are thinking that person will still be the same way. I also feel like it dehumanizes the other person in some kind of way. It kind of makes them this object. It objectifies them. Let me explain. If I take this pen and I leave it here on the table and I go away for 2 weeks and I come back, as long as nobody else moves this pen, I expect to see that pen where I left it. That's how people look at other people that they've been in relationships with. That I left them and I'm going to come back and they'll just be where I left them. Except the other person is not a pen. They're a person. They are capable of growth. They're capable of reflection. I mean, you could have been in a relationship with someone who was 100 pounds overweight, did not like themselves, and now they've gone to therapy, they've lost the weight, they're in the gym 5 days a week, they have a different compass, they have a different orientation for themselves and their values, and the things that aligned with them that made them fit with you 3 years ago is not going to fit with you today. So before you think about chasing that ex, however it went down, think about what I just said. They are not objects, they are people. And there is the possibility that they are not who you thought they were anymore because they have changed. And that's why, for better or worse, I don't entertain the idea of fantasizing about an ex. Maybe they've changed for the worse, okay? Maybe you left them and they were living a good life and now they're like drug addicts or something. So yeah, these people on the show got back together and you can see the obvious premise that they are thinking that they are all the same people. And for some of them, that is the case. But you should know in reality, a lot of times, people are not static. Finally, I observed that many of the participants had done no inner work whatsoever. So if you're someone that is dreaming of winning your ex back, of going and finding the one that got away in college or something, you really need to look at yourself first. Have you done the work in yourself? That's the first thing, okay? That's the first thing. And you need to be very objective and sincere with that question and answer honestly. Have you been objective in that reflection? You know? Because despite all the new information from the coaches like Paul and everything they did to, tell them you need to take accountability, you need to be vulnerable, you need to do this, you need to do that, this is work that you should have done before embarking on this quest to win this person back. And of course, this person you're winning back, I should also state, they are not a trophy, they are a person. So they have a right to say, no, I don't want you, stop trying, they aren't an object sitting there waiting for you to just come and snatch them. Okay? They have agency as human beings. So, just off the bat, seeing how many of them behaved on the show, I could tell they had not done any work at all. Some of them, it was even so hard for them to even apologize. For some of them, it was even so hard for them to take accountability. So I just knew, okay, this is not going to go well. If you came in thinking for an outcome of they're going to end up together, it's not going to happen, right? So, some other things to note, and when I talk about these people, maybe I'll see if I can show you their pictures on my phone. There's a contestant, there's a couple. I think they are called Amberly, and Kieran. Maybe I'm saying their names right. This is them, right? That's the couple. These two, Amberly had a lot of trust issues. She had so many trust issues that she needs to work on her own. So this is an example of people needing to do their own work. And we can say some of these trust issues might have been caused by her own ex because he cheated, and so this wound is still there and is still sore. But how much work has she done on her own to recover from that? Because even if she doesn't get back with Kieran, right? If she is looking to be in another future relationship with someone else that is loving and healthy, she can't show up with this. Okay, this is work, it's not her fault. It's like childhood wounds, childhood trauma. We did not choose to be wounded by our parents, but they wounded us nonetheless, for those of us that have those wounds. And we can't walk around with blood all over the place. It's our responsibility to heal ourselves, whatever that looks like. Therapy, coaching, support, whatever it is, group sessions, that's your work, right? Amberly also has this tit for tat kind of mentality where, okay, he cheats on me, so I'm gonna go and hang out with my former ex, even if I'm not doing anything there, to just like make him feel bad. And it's like, I don't recommend it. Getting your own lick back, I don't recommend it because it's not healthy. And I'll tell you why. It's not even about wanting to be the good person. It's about principle of you're not going to let someone else dictate your pace. It's not when I move, you move, just like that type of situation. You know what I mean? It's not, because you did this, now I will do this. No, you should be a person of your own principles. Like, this is my bar and this is where I am and I will never go here. And instead of going here, I will just eliminate you. I will just remove you from my life because I refuse to engage with someone who takes me to a place that I do not belong. And I think that's something Amberly needs to really, really, really take on in her future. Another couple, oh my god, another couple that was just, I don't know. I feel like this guy was just here for entertainment. I feel like he was just here, this Connor and Lucia. Connor, I feel he was just here for either a check or, you know what, let me not say anything. I don't know. I don't know his intentions, but he definitely was not contrite. There was no remorse. He didn't even want to put in the work. Okay, that hard work I spoke about earlier, that if you want to have a good chance of repairing your relationship after cheating, he didn't want to do that. Okay? He didn't want to do that. And so with Lucia, again, like I said, a lot of the people on the victim side, they had their own issues going on. And we don't know where they stem from, whether it's from prior relationships, whether it's from childhood. There's a very strong possibility it's from childhood because we replay the patterns from our attachment wounds in childhood in our adult relationships, right? And so with Lucia, you see this like self abandoning and self love issues, self esteem. And like Paul said on the show, Paul, the host, she needs to work on her boundaries because there were signs that this guy wasn't really contrite. And in the show, you can opt out and leave at any time. They're not in chains, so you can leave. Okay, and in real life, you can also leave. Okay, in real life, if someone is not treating you with respect, if someone is not showing up in the way you expect in your relationship, you can leave. You can leave. And so you are not obligated to keep giving people chances. You're not obligated to be a martyr. You know, there is no place in heaven for being the woman that took the cheating man back 10 times. There's nothing. And so by the end of the season, Lucia is like, yup, I should have left, that day. I should have left on this day. I shouldn't have given you back that chance. And she should have. But I give her grace because sometimes you kind of have to go through things like this to learn. So I hope that she continues to do this work on herself and better things are ahead for her. Another person that, oh man, this couple, Liam and Olivia. Liam and Olivia was just like watching a train wreck. It was just so hard to watch because Olivia is such a gorgeous girl. She's so beautiful. And you're like, why? This couple are the ones when I keep talking about the 10-year history, it's them. How do you sit around for 10 years with this? Liam demonstrated some of the most malevolent things I have seen on reality TV. Okay, there was gaslighting, there was lying, there was manipulation, there was playing the victim. I mean, he found ways to make himself the victim in this. And I mean, there was even where he gave like an ultimatum because she kept on trying to get this closure about this cheating he had done that he just kept denying, and he threatened to leave. And I have heard of situations, because I've worked with people, where this is what the partner is doing. You're trying to confront them about a situation and they are turning it around on you, and it's like, look, if you don't let this go, I'm just going to leave this relationship. I didn't go there, I didn't see that girl, I didn't sleep with her, I didn't do this with him, and if you just keep going, I'm just going to leave, And it could be small things like, I'm just going to walk away and leave the house and not show up for 3 days, triggering your abandonment wounds, right? Or it could be like, I'm going to leave and end the relationship and we're done. And all of this manipulation is just terrible, So eventually, after some episodes, we get some truth from Liam that, oh yeah, that did happen. And oh my gosh, I don't even know how Olivia took him back, because it is very scary for someone to gaslight you. Gaslighting is not a joke. If someone makes you feel like you're going crazy, They manipulate you and they alter your reality. And you start questioning if you saw what you saw, if you heard what you heard, and they start telling you you're making things up and you're going crazy. They are playing with your sanity. They are playing with your sanity, and by inference, they are playing with your life. You shouldn't take that lightly. You shouldn't. I'm not saying don't take them back, but you have to at least make sure that that person is now a safe person, because I want to give room for growth, okay? I want to give room for people to be able to change. Like murderers can change, right? Killers can change, right? So someone that did that with your sanity can see some kind of light and evolve and change, but you're gonna have to let them earn that back and for you to feel safe. And you can see the entire time that Olivia does not feel safe. She doesn't feel safe in this. And maybe she loves him still, I don't know. But Olivia is someone that has her own work to do as well, because she also has self-esteem, self-love issues. And it's not self-esteem like, oh, she doesn't think she's pretty enough, or she doesn't think she's that girl, or no. It's that inside love, like you love yourself enough to know that your safety is so important. Like you're not going to be around people, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's an ex, that you don't feel safe around, that triggers your nervous system, that you're worrying like, oh my God, do I need to go and get tested again this week, even though I went like 3 weeks ago, because I don't know what he's doing. Like, do I believe him when he tells me he slept? Like, you need to love yourself so much that your self-preservation is so important. And that's where I think Olivia needs to get to. It seems like they continued on from the show. I don't know if there's any reunion. I haven't heard anything about it. If there is, I will watch and I will maybe come back in the comments and tell you guys. But that's what Olivia needs to do. Olivia is so prone to self-abandonment. And on this show, we actually saw her cut off her friend. The friend that told her about the cheating. The friend that met up with her and Liam when she told the friend that, like, look, I'm thinking of getting back with him and we're doing this retreat and blah, blah, blah. That's the friend. She came on the show. And from speaking to him, she said, nah, it's not going to work. He is not remorseful. He is still his old self. He has not changed. And I believe the friend was right. But she cut off that friend. When you're with manipulative people, they're going to put you at odds with the people who love you. It's going to be a me versus them situation. You have to pick me or say goodbye to your family. You have to pick me or say goodbye to your best friend. And sometimes they will tarnish the relationship so that you're going to be forced to choose. And seeing her say she's cutting off her best friend, I was just like, wow. Now you are isolated and you don't have support. You don't have a support system or support network with the people who love you, with the people who can tell you that you're not going crazy, or this person is telling you it's not, the sky is blue, it's not red. They're telling you it's red, but it's actually blue. You are now isolated from those people. It's going to be so much harder for you. So yeah, Liam and Olivia, it seems they got back together, but I really, really want so much more for her, and I want her to do that work. And I do believe that the other side of the joy and happiness she's looking for is at the side of her after she's done that work, whether or not it means she ends up with Liam, right? And now another couple I want to talk about is Dan and Rebecca. This is Dan and Rebecca. Okay. So earlier I talked about how if you're trying to get back with your cheating partner, you have to do the work. And I've said you have to do the work on yourself first before you think of getting back with them. And I know it made it seem like I'm dismissing the possibility that you can do this work in the relationship. You can. But I have to tell you, this is the harder way. It is so much harder to do the work on yourselves individually while in the relationship and staying connected. And I'll tell you why. Dan is the reason why. Dan and Rebecca are the reason why. When you stay in the relationship, okay, so first of all, it was very hard for Dan to take accountability, and eventually he spoke the words of forgiveness. He apologized genuinely. Everybody was just commending him, clapping hands. Oh, you did so well, Dan. Okay, now you've apologized, and it's a, I guess, genuine apology. You're going to have to match those words now with actions, right? You're going to have to do the work. You don't just say, I'm sorry, you have to do the work. And Dan is an example of someone that doesn't want to do the work. Dan is an example of someone that wants to skip all the hard stuff, all the hard work you have to do and just get back to, okay, we're good now. And you don't get to do that. You don't get to fast forward into the future, especially when the other person is still wounded. They're still hurting. A lot of the healing of the wounding that will happen in the relationship together is going to come from you doing that hard work that you're trying to skip. Right. I'll give you a real life example of this. And some of this happened in the show, and I was clocking it as it was happening. So, let's say you cheated on your partner, you lied, and you both are in the relationship, right? You've gone to therapy, and the therapist is saying, you guys need to communicate more, you need to speak like this, you need to do like this, you do. And now you're in the relationship, you have to act out those things that they've told you. And you have this agreement, right, that you're going to hold each other accountable. Every time she holds you accountable and you're the cheater, you're going to feel like she's nitpicking. You know, if you're the cheater, you're going to feel like he is nitpicking. Let's say you're a girl or whatever it is your gender is, I don't care. You're going to feel like the victim is nitpicking at you. You're going to feel like they feel like nothing you do is ever good enough. And what you're doing is probably not even good. Okay, your bar is here. You need to get here. Right? And you have told her that she gets to hold you accountable to you being up here. And every time she tries to do that, you're going to be like, you're picking on me. Nothing I do is good enough. I'm not good enough for you. You're never satisfied. And it's like bare minimum things, right? Bare minimum things. And so it gets frustrating because you feel like you're being picked on, and then the other person feels like, I don't want to feel like I have to tell you everything. I don't want to have to. People don't want to get through that, and it's uncomfortable, right? It's like, let's say you are in a relationship with someone and you're trying to quit smoking, or you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to stick to your diet, and you've told the person, look, I need you to hold me accountable, and then they are holding you accountable. Hey, you said you were going to go for a run yesterday, you didn't go for a run. Hey, you're eating the whole tub of ice cream. I thought you said you wanted to only eat a quarter so you can lose weight. Hey, you're going to feel like, why are you pushing on me? Even though you asked for this, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you pushing on me? Why are you picking on me? Why are you doing that? And the person that is holding you accountable is going to start feeling like, Okay, every time I try to hold him accountable, it turns into a fight. I'm the bad guy. Like, ugh. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be in that dynamic. And that's why I said in cheating relationships, that is actually the harder path, to try to repair the relationship and do the work on yourselves that you're supposed to do individually while together. That is hard. And with the couple I just spoke about, Dan and Rebecca, that was the situation. And he walked away. He walked away, and they had like this tearful embrace, and they parted ways because he realized he's not up to it. Now, whether he realized because he doesn't love her anymore, he really doesn't want to come back because, coming back is just going to be too much work. It would be so much easier to just find a new person I don't have any of this history with and just start over. And that's why a lot of times that's what happens when people cheat on you. They rebound, they find someone else because it's easier to do. But what, like I said, you can't cheat your way out of the work that you need to do, right? If you still need to lose that weight, you still need to get in shape, whatever it is that thing is, it's sitting there and it's waiting for you to come back to it. Whether you break up or leave the coach that keeps grinding your gears or whatever, or the partner that keeps reminding you to go for your run or whatever, it's still waiting for you. You still have to do the work. So your attachment issues, your insecurities, whatever those things that happened to you that created this character trait where you find yourself being someone who continuously cheats in relationships, lies, manipulates, those things will still be there with you and they will follow you into your new relationship, and you will act out those patterns all over again. Right. Okay. So there were like 2 or 3 other couples in the show, but these are the 4 I just wanted to focus on the most, right? Now, an overwhelming thing I observed in the show that I haven't spoken about thus far is that many of them lacked self awareness. Oh, Lord. They lacked self awareness. You see them, they would get in a tizzy. They would be so upset about someone doing something to their friend. And you're looking at them like, but that's what you did to your ex, though. You did the same thing, you know? And it's so interesting how it's a human thing, right? It's really the projection that's going on. It's harder to look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, I'm a person who lies. I'm a person who is disingenuous. But it's easier to call it out when you see someone else do the exact same thing that you do, right? So, yep, those are the end of my. That's the end of my notes. That's the end of my, analysis of the Netflix show Cheat: Unfinished Business. It's a reality TV show based on couples coming together, trying to see if they can rebuild their relationship after having cheated in the past. That's the premise of the show, and I think only 1 or 2 couples made it, and I don't even know if there's going to be a reunion to see if they actually make it past. There is a couple I feel that might have a chance, Steph and Andre. These two, you could tell they still had they felt like they still loved each other. They still had attraction, they still loved each other. But again, emotions are not enough. Feelings are not enough. Loving someone is not enough. If they continue to do the work and they get the support of therapy outside of the show, then they can have a chance because they've learned, they've looked back, they've seen, these are my things, these are your things, these are the things you need to work on, these are the things I need to work on, this is how we want to show up in the relationship, and then it can be better. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna look into the comments, see if there's anything there. If you came in towards the end or whatever, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I will try and see if I can do more of these lives. No promises though, but you know, this is Dr. Introspect TV. We tell you the stories behind the stories. We do psychological, sociological, thematic analysis of the experiences and the takeaways that we can find in media, often movies, often often series, television, docu-series. We can even do songs and movies and books. We'll see. Okay, I have a message from Kweshi Becca. Yes, the next deep dive, I don't know. I have seen You season 5, and I don't know if I want to come and talk about it, but maybe if I get requests, I'll come back and talk about it. Or if I get requests on something else, I might come back and talk about it. But yeah, thank you for watching. I don't know how long you were here, but yeah, okay, signing off now, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. I love you. Love yourselves too.